Hi, this is a presentation about carpal tunnel syndrome, and I'm interviewing, I guess, my grandmother, Maggie. How long have you been having carpal tunnel?
I think I've been experiencing it for a long time. It really became difficult in probably 2005, 2000, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay. That's like 7 years about.
Oh, yes, yes.
What was the symptoms that you noticed when you first?
Tingling in my wrist, and then I couldn't sleep at night. I would have to elevate my arm.
Mm-hmm. How long did the symptoms persist before you sought out help?
Probably a year or so, or 6 months maybe. I just thought that it was just something I was going through. Mm-hmm. And several of my classmates had similar problems. Mm-hmm. And so I went to the drugstore and I bought this, mm-hmm. which helped. This is Carpal Tunnel, which you can get at the drugstore, a brace for at night. Mm-hmm. I didn't wear this during the day, of course, mm-hmm. but at night. And what that does, it keeps your wrist absolutely immobile. Mm-hmm. Because when I sleep, I tend to sleep like this, like a baby.
Just what you sleep.
Yes, like that. And that apparently cuts off all of the circulation, so it exacerbated the problem.
And how long have you been using that brace?
Oh, I don't use it anymore, mm-hmm. but I used it a while, and it would go away at night, but then I would have to there would be problems during the day.
So when you went to the doctor, right, what kind of I guess, advice or intervention did the doctor tell you to do?
Well, the doctor was an orthopedic doctor, mm-hmm. and he tested me, first of all, to even see if I had it with electrical probes. Mm-hmm. And that determined that I indeed did have carpal tunnel. He tested both arms, and the right was worse. And he said, well, we can wait on the left-hand side. So he sent me, I think, to a physical therapist. I'm not sure who it was. Mm-hmm. And she gave me exercises to help. The exercises were supposed to strengthen this, mm-hmm. and provide it so that there was no pain, but unfortunately that didn't work for me. It works for a lot of people, but it didn't work for me.
Okay. And then when you told the physical therapist that that didn't work for you, did they actually change the exercises for you or not?
No, because I was doing a full range of exercises, mm-hmm. probably everything you needed to do for that circumstance. So it was then decided by the orthopedic doctor that I needed surgery.
Okay. So what kind of surgery did you end up doing?
It's a carpal tunnel where they cut this open here, mm-hmm. lay it back, and I believe it's enlarged this area because all of the tendons go through there. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know how long the recovery was. And I, of course, was expecting a full recovery, but unfortunately...
It's not the same as it used to be, right?
No, I have no strength.
No strength in it?
I have some strength. Mm-hmm. I can't say no strength, but unfortunately I'm not able to do the things that I used to be able to do.
So during that time you were in school for trying to pursue Bachelor of Arts or Fine Arts?
Fine Arts, yes. I had been going to school for a long time, but I had not finished my degree. And I decided in my mid-70s that I was going to finish this. Mm-hmm. Or early 70s, let's put it that way. You know, that's not...
It's never too late to go back to school.
That's right, it's never too late to go back to school. But I decided to finish. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do this. All my children have university degrees, undergraduate, and some of them graduate degrees. Mm-hmm. and even my grandchildren. So I wanted to go back to school and do this. And maybe if I had been younger, I would not have gotten this carpal tunnel, because my wrist, but you can see my wrists are about as tiny as they get.
Yeah,
so I don't really have, I have good strength, but yeah.
So during that time when you first discovered you had carpal tunnel, it's like, what activities do you think that made you lead to that?
Well, it's repetitive type of actions that I understand that give you carpal tunnel. And for years I typed and did repetitive action, but I of course didn't have any symptoms then. But when I was doing art projects, both sculpture in clay and in bronze, those are very, very difficult and take a lot of hand strength. And it just became so difficult for me to manipulate. When I was working in clay, I could do the beginning of the clay in forming the sculptures, but to be able to finish this, you have to let the clay harden somewhat and then clean out the inside of it, or it will be so heavy and so dense that it'll break in the kiln.
Oh.
And that's probably what happened to my right arm, is that you're constantly just cleaning this out and hollowing it out until it gets to a point where it's able to be fired without problems. And in the same way, when you're working in bronze, I was doing this for a class, and I was doing some large bronze. And I used the lost wax method, where you make your original maquette or object, and then you encase this. First of all, you have to build a mesh cage, and then you put the object down in there upside down, and then you fill it with plaster of Paris, so that it's strong enough to be able to hold the molten bronze when they pour it in. And that's what it means, lost wax, because then the wax just melts and comes out.
Oh, okay.
And that forms your object that you're trying to do. Well, then when you finish that, then you have to break out the plaster of Paris and totally dismantle that, and then use, you know, it's a real, it's hard
manual labor,
manual labor, and really a difficult process. And finally I had to give this up, which is really a shame, because that's what I love doing.
So then right now, since you have to give those artwork up, so what do you do right now?
Well, I had to change mediums, and I went to drawing and painting, and I was doing oil painting, and that's not the medium that I really wanted to work in. It took me probably 3 years to find the medium that I wanted to work in, and that is Chinese brush painting, because it's very easy on my wrist. I don't have any pain whatsoever, so that's nice. With drawing, I could do it in a way that was more delicate, and that's more like I am. And brush painting, the Chinese brush painting, I use the gombing method, which is fine line rather than the freestyle, and it works great for me. That was the one positive thing that came out of it, because it has curtailed other activities that it's very annoying not to be able to do some of the things that I want to do. and you have to be able to adapt. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. What are some coping strategies you have adapted?
Well, the coping strategies are that I don't do things that are painful. I've had to give up the sculpture, and I've had to give up different things around the house. Vacuuming is difficult, and also pruning roses, and yes, but you know, you work through it.
Since those activities make your wrist hurt, so do you still kind of like find another way to do it, or you have someone else to do it for you?
Well, I'd love to have other people prune my roses, but they never do it to my liking.
Okay.
So, so I go ahead and do that myself. I have to space it out.
Okay.
What really worries me when I see these kids texting constantly, because this is a repetitive motion, and I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of carpal tunnel problems from this.
Very young age too.
From this texting. You never think it's going to happen to you. You always think, oh, I can do this. I'm immune to this. And
what would you say to someone who realizes that he or she has carpal tunnel syndrome?
I would say that you need help, and hopefully this person would be able to afford to go to get help. And if not, start using this from the drugstore to alleviate the pain at night.
So I guess like the surgery and things are kind of like pricey, isn't it, huh?
It is. It's very pricey, and I had great insurance, and I was able to take advantage of this, but not everybody can.
Yeah. What would you have liked to know that no one told you about this?
Well, I think if I had realized that this is going to be so difficult for me to do, maybe I would have hired one of my younger classmates I would go ahead and do the sculpture, and then when it came time to hollow out the inside, I would have hired them to do it for me, because I'm sure they would have been happy to do it.
That's true.
I don't know how that had gone over, but
teacher would be like, maybe.
Listen, I was older than all the teachers and all the students and everyone, so maybe age takes a little precedence there.
I think so.
And see, that was one of the reasons also. I felt I had to keep up, and even though I could feel it, and it hurt when I was doing some of these things, I thought, I can work through it.
I see. Well, I feel like if you go into like college, at that level, I feel like a lot of people are mostly like respectful, so.
Oh, very respectful. And the teachers, the professors love you because someone coming back, they really want to do this.
You're like, that's her passion, yes. She's setting a good example.
Setting a good example, right.